This is a watercolour of a poppy I did a while back. I want to show you in this little video how to preserve the delicacy of the poppy petals by working negatively against an initial wash of colour. So I'll start doing that right now.
Okay, I've sketched out the shape of the poppy that I want to paint on this piece of Bockingford rough paper, and I'm now ready to paint. So this is a big, wide, flat brush, nylon brush, 1.5 inch flat. I'm just laying down a wash of clean water over the whole area where I'll be painting. This is to give a nice area for me to lay in some blushes of colour to get the foundation of the petals. Big brush, number 10, pointed round, using a bit of Opera Rose. I'm just putting onto that wet paper around my poppy shapes. There's a little bit of yellow in this pink as well, just to get something near a poppy colour. Poppies are generally more of an orange than a red. Let's got the blush in for the poppy. I'm going to introduce some ultramarine blue in a moment. Here it comes. Big round brush again, pointed round. Just getting a nice background, a little bit of complementary contrast with the blue and the pink, to again make this blossom more striking when the time comes. All this is going wet into wet, so the washes soften in prettily around the bloom. Careful with drips and that kind of thing. Don't make your washes too wet. You've got plenty of water on the paper. Strengthening up some of the poppy edges with some pink. Opera Rose again. Lovely colour. Very striking. And then I need to leave that to dry for a moment or two before I embark on the detailed work, which will be wet on dry. Okay, now everything's dry, so I'm going to pick up my pointed round brush again, and I'll start to introduce some of this detail, cutting out the shape of the bloom. The idea is to retain the freshness and brightness and transparency of the poppy petals, which are large. So a bit of ultramarine blue, pointed round brush again, number 10 round, wet on dry, getting a nice pointy edge, and just beginning to suggest the shape of poppy leaves coming out on this strongly defined edge. All going wet on dry. So I'm cutting out that blush with darker tones. More paint on the brush, darkening down. Again, just emphasizing those poppy leaf shapes. Continuing to define edges with the point of my brush. It's probably quite important that you have a very good point on your brush for this kind of work. Difficult to do it with a too round or too moppy a brush. So look for your most pointed brush in your collection of brushes, in your armoury as it were. Bit of green going in now. This is a bit of ultramarine, a bit of lemon yellow mixed into my ultramarine. The same idea, getting a nice firm line around the edge of my poppy and making poppy leaf shapes as I go. Bring that green over the top of that pink blush. The pink won't do the green any harm at all. bit of red always does the green some favours. Here carefully brushing around the shape of the bloom that will be beneath the main featured bloom here. Just added a bit more blue to the mixture again. So we've got lemon yellow, ultramarine blue, quite a light wash, just trying to discover edges and the stem, of course. Bring that shape in and around. Some of these washes will have to be softened off. Here we go, damp brush coming in just to soften off the edge. And then lead it round to the other bloom in beneath. Again, getting a wet on dry contrast. Working negatively all the time, same as I was with the flower above. So it's dark against the light, leaving the light there. Again, softening the colour in and around the damp brush. And now we're beginning to see those poppies quite clearly, I think. With loosely defined edges with the leafage. One more softening going on here. Just bringing in now the shadows on the internal part of the bloom. This is just a deep, strong wash of the opera rose, cutting out the petal shapes, of course, adding a bit of cadmium orange to the mixture. I'm using a pointed round brush number 6 for all this work. Again, important to get that accurate definition, good strong edges. So good point in your brush is very helpful. Bringing the colour down into suggest the shape of the nearer petal by putting in the shadow behind, softening in that orangey wash with a damp brush, same brush. Sable, I believe. Number 6 pointed round. Just defining that edge of that petal a bit better, straightening up as I go. Deepening the colour again, this is just a stronger mix, same mix, and bringing that petal down while the shadow behind it. We can now begin to see the shape of that bloom really rather nicely. I'm going to just put in some stronger colour onto the petal itself, or the petals, the nearer ones, against the same colour, the opera rose with cadmium orange mixed together in quite a light application, but strong enough to give a bit of roundness and shape to the bloom, and dampening those washes in. Now I need to work on the centre of the bloom. This is going to be a combination of burnt umber and Winsor & Newton's Payne's Grey. Pointy round brush again, just getting the suggestion of the centre of the bloom in behind the nearer petals. We're glimpsing that centre between those petals. It gives a nice focal point. Pointed round brush again. just spreading the paint just to get a strong tone. Again, just a reminder, it's burnt umber and Payne's grey. This is a pointed round brush again. This is getting some darker tones in to enhance the shape at the bottom of the bloom. Slightly bluer tone. Same mixture of the lemon yellow and ultramarine, but in a deeper, stronger mix. This is just exploring really. Deeper blue to define the stem, but all the time I'm trying to keep things nicely balanced. I don't get anything too heavy, but I want some little emphases, little accents here and there, just to show off the shape of the bloom negatively. Same bluey green mix in behind, enhancing those leaves in there, and drawing that down. Same colour, a little bit further down to get the shape of the little bloom beneath. Again, be quite careful where I put these little accents. You want a sort of strong line all the way around the bloom. Just want to define it carefully. Softening that in with the same brush, extending it. Bringing in some more colour from the right hand side, underneath as well. Just going to enhance the top of the bloom now with the same bluey green, deeper colour. Again, little accents, just finding edges and defining shapes. The very point of the brush. Again, I can't emphasise too much how important it is to have a nice pointy brush for this work. Just finishing by softening off the edges, making that a little bit stronger in tone right the way down through. It is sketch, of course. Soft edge. And deepening it around the blue at the bottom there. Making more of that petal. A little bit. Oh, pointy brush. There. Okay, that's pretty much done.